It's that time of the year when fans start dreaming about blockbuster trades, surprise additions, and those under-the-radar moves that could actually make a difference down the stretch. And look, while it's always fun to imagine what it would look like to land a superstar like Trey Hendrickson or Jeffrey Simmons, sometimes the best deals are the quiet ones. The trades that don't dominate the headlines but still fill important holes and elevate a team when it matters most. If you're the Chicago Bears right now, that's exactly the kind of thinking you need heading toward the NFL trade deadline. So let's take a breath from the big names and talk about realistic, affordable options that could help this Bears team take another step. One name floating around that makes a lot of sense: Calais Campbell. Yeah, he's not the young star he once was, but what he brings to the table at this stage of his career is incredibly valuable. The Cardinals have been on a free fall, losing 5 straight games, and they're clearly in sell mode. Campbell, even in limited snaps, is still productive. He's versatile, he's smart, and he's a leader, something this Bears defense can always use more of. If you can get him for something as simple as a late-round pick swap, that's a no-brainer. You're adding a guy who can still pressure the quarterback and command respect in the locker room. Another intriguing option is Rasul Douglas from Miami. Now, it's unclear what the Dolphins' full direction is, but if they start unloading guys and you can scoop up a solid corner like Rasul for cheap, you do it. The Bears' secondary has talent, but you can never have enough corner depth, especially with the physical toll this position group takes. And even though it sounds like Tariq Stevenson avoided a serious injury, adding someone like Rasul gives you coverage insurance and flexibility. Now, a trade that's generated a bit of buzz recently is the hypothetical Braxton Jones for Tyree Wilson swap. And here's the thing. Tyree might not be dominating just yet, but he's a high-upside edge rusher who fits what the Bears want to build on defense. If you could get him at a discount, even if it's just giving up a mid or late-round pick or a player like Braxton who's been inconsistent, it's a move worth considering. Sometimes it's about buying low on young talent that just needs a new system to unlock their potential. Then there's Kyle Van Noy, another veteran who might not be in his prime anymore, but he's a guy who's still productive when used situationally. You need to be smart about how you deploy him. He fits better in a 3-4 front, but he brings experience and pass rushing ability. For a guy making only a couple $1,000,000, that's the kind of addition that helps you in December when you're trying to win ugly games. Alani Taylor is another name to circle. The connection with Dennis Allen and the way Taylor's been playing this year for the Saints makes him an interesting target. He's been solid, and if the Saints are willing to listen to offers, the Bears would be smart to pick up the phone. Because again, the focus here should be on adding depth at corner and along the defensive line. That's where this roster can still improve without blowing up the future or giving up massive draft capital. Notice how none of these suggestions included a running back. And that's on purpose. As things stand, the Bears' ground game has been surprisingly solid. DeAndre Swift hasn't been the star people hoped he would be, but he's been serviceable, and Khalil Herbert, when healthy, still shows flashes. More importantly, the offensive line seems to be gelling enough to create space. So unless there's a major injury, running back just isn't a pressing need right now. There's no need to force a move there. You can absolutely revisit that position in the offseason if needed, but for now, this backfield looks capable enough. Instead, it's those two positions, cornerback and defensive line, that should be the priority. They're areas where an injury or lack of depth could become a real problem in a playoff push. And the good news is, there are pieces out there that wouldn't cost much. That's the sweet spot for a team like the Bears, who are trying to keep building while still staying competitive. Smart, subtle moves that strengthen the roster without giving up too much. Now switching gears a bit, let's talk about the offense and the play calling, because there's been a lot of chatter. Some folks thought the Bears' recent offensive showing was too conservative or that there wasn't enough of an effort to get the ball to Rome Odunze. I'm going to push back on that. Rome only had 6 targets, yeah, but some of those were just misfires. He had a drop. Caleb missed him a couple times. That happens. But when you watch this offense, when it's clicking, it usually comes down to one thing. Rome Odunze is heavily involved. This passing game is at its best when Caleb Williams is targeting Rome 10 or more times. So if anything, the issue wasn't that they fed him too much, it's that they didn't get him involved enough. There's a balance to strike here, no doubt. You want to spread the ball around, get other guys involved, but when you have a true number one wide receiver, you lean on that. Rome is that guy. And if he's not seeing double-digit targets in most games, you're probably not getting the most out of your passing attack. The connection between him and Caleb has shown flashes of elite potential. It's still developing, of course, but you ride that wave and let them grow together. That's how you build something long-term. And speaking of long-term, how about some love for Ben Johnson? This dude has been a revelation as a head coach. The vibe he brings to the team is exactly what you want around a young quarterback. He's got this rare mix of being intense, but also composed. That kind of emotional intelligence is gold in the NFL, especially with so many head coaches who either burn too hot or come off as passive. Ben knows when to light a fire under guys and when to pull back and let them reset. You don't see that often in young coaches. It's impressive. The relationship between Caleb and Ben Johnson is going to be a key storyline all year. And honestly, so far, the signs are encouraging. Caleb's been up and down, no doubt, but you can see he's responding to the coaching. He's being held accountable, and Ben Johnson is doing it in a way that builds trust, not resentment. That matters. That's how you develop quarterbacks the right way. Right now, Shane Steichen might be the favorite for Coach of the Year with the Colts sitting on top of the AFC, but Ben Johnson should absolutely be in that next tier. He's already outperformed expectations, and if the Bears somehow pull off a division title, they'll be right in that conversation. Now, one thing people have been debating lately is Caleb's height. Is that a factor in some of his struggles? Look, the dude's about 6'1". You're going to get the occasional pass batted down, especially if the interior offensive line is getting pushed back into your lap. That's just part of the deal. But let's not act like this is a Kyler Murray situation where vision is a huge problem. Caleb can see the field just fine in most situations. The bigger issue recently has been his timing and rhythm. Before the bye week, you could see him settling in. The footwork was better, the mechanics were tighter. Since then, especially in that game against New Orleans, he's looked a little rushed, a little jittery. The rhythm hasn't been the same. Part of that is on him. Part of it might be on the protection. The tackles, especially, didn't play their best in that last game. But this isn't some major red flag. This is normal for a rookie quarterback. They hit bumps in the road. The key is how they respond. Caleb's shown he can make the big-time throws. He's shown he can lead a drive. Now, it's about consistency, getting back into that rhythm and staying there for full games. One more name that's drawn attention lately, Tremaine Edmunds. Has he earned an extension? That's a tricky one. He's under contract for another year at around $18 million, so there's no pressure to do anything right now. But if the season ended today, I'd keep him on that number. He's been playing much better, especially since shifting to the linebacker spot. His performance has improved, and the fit in this defensive scheme finally seems to be clicking. It's starting to look like the version of Edmunds the Bears thought they were getting when they signed him. While we're on the topic of defensive performance, let's not ignore one of the more frustrating storylines lately. Ruben Hippolyte being a healthy scratch for the second week in a row. That's not nothing. When a young, athletic linebacker with elite straight-line speed can't even get on the field, especially with one of your starters missing time due to a concussion, it says something. And yeah, people are throwing out ideas like, why not try him a corner? But let's be real. Just because a guy runs a sub-4.4 40 doesn't mean he can play cornerback in the NFL. That's not how this works. Playing corner is one of the hardest jobs in football. After quarterback and maybe offensive tackle, it's right up there. You've got to understand leverage, footwork, spacing, route combinations, and, oh yeah, every rule is designed to make your life harder. It's a different world than playing linebacker. Straight line speed is great, but it's just one small piece of a much larger puzzle. Could Ruben maybe switch to a strong safety role over time with the right coaching and development? Sure, that's possible, but that's a long-term project, not a short-term solution. And if we're being honest, it's fair to be a little concerned that he's not even cracking the game day roster right now. Maybe the coaching staff just doesn't trust him yet. Maybe it's a depth chart situation. Either way, if you're not playing special teams or making an impact in your designated role, it's hard to justify your spot on the active roster. Now, shifting to a completely different conversation that's been gaining steam. What's going on with Jake Moody and the kicker situation in Chicago? After 1 or 2 games, it was easy to dismiss the chatter. But now, this is getting interesting. Cairo Santos has been a steady veteran presence for the Bears. He's been accurate, reliable, and for the most part, you feel good when he lines up for anything inside 50 yards. But that's the issue. He doesn't have the big leg. You can't trust him to consistently hit from 58, 59, or even 60 yards. And in today's NFL, that's a weapon you want in your back pocket. A guy who can give you 3 points from basically anywhere past midfield. Moody, on the other hand, has that leg. And if he gets another chance this week and nails a long field goal, you've got a legitimate decision on your hands. Because as good as Cairo has been, he's in his early 30s now. He's been dependable, but you're always looking to the future in this league. If Moody can prove he's not just a strong leg, but also consistent with accuracy and kickoffs, then maybe you found your long-term answer without even trying. That's a huge win for a team trying to stabilize every part of the roster. It's not about punishing Cairo for being what he is. It's about asking whether a younger, cheaper, more versatile option is ready to take the job. If Moody kicks again this week and looks the part, don't be surprised if the conversation shifts fast. And while we're evaluating player performances and big decisions, let's talk about Joe Thuney. What a signing. When you talk about value in free agency, this is what it looks like. Veteran presence, stability, 0 penalties, minimal pressures allowed, no sacks. On a team that's struggled with discipline and consistency, Thuney's been the adult in the room. He's been everything you want in a veteran guard, and then some. And when you consider what you gave up, a 4th-round pick, and the contract you handed him, it's looking like an absolute bargain. $17.5 million a year for that kind of impact? That's not overpaying. That's investing in dependability. What makes Thuney's addition even more impressive is what it's done for the rest of the offensive line. His presence alone has helped stabilize the left side and given Caleb Williams more time and comfort in the pocket, especially when the pocket doesn't collapse instantly. He doesn't make highlight plays, he doesn't draw headlines, but that's kind of the point. He just handles his business, play after play. In the grand scheme of the Poles era, this might go down as the best personnel move so far. He's helped change the tone up front. He's made everyone's job easier. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers have begun circulating through the NFL corridors, and the latest murmurs have sent Bears fans into a frenzy. Christian McCaffrey, the electrifying running back known for his rare combination of speed, agility, and pass-catching prowess, could be heading to Chicago. While nothing has been officially stamped beyond the initial announcement that the Bears confirmed the arrival of McCaffrey, the buzz suggests this might be more than just a routine roster update. It could be the signal of a seismic shift in the NFC landscape.